I have in my hands the entire lineup of the brand new Shimano Outlier Swimbait rod series. This is the first ever swimbait only series made by Shimano. They pulled all their best tech, they pulled all their best pro staff, they did a ton of R&D, a ton of research and a ton of development to make these right. Today we're going to outline the whole lineup, show you guys what to expect. Let's have some fun. Let's go. Welcome back, my friends. I am Ben with the Hookup Tackle at Tackle Otaku on Instagram. I'm being joined today by my buddy CJ. CJ, swimbait rods, swimbait fishing, something in your wheelhouse, something in my wheelhouse, something in a lot of your wheelhouses. An unusual kind of surprise drop from Shimano. This is something that we've known about for at least a year or so in the development process of this rod. So super stoked to finally be able to talk to you guys about this lineup. As many of you guys know, I've been very critical on Shimano over the last couple of years, mainly because I was born with Shimano reels in my hands. I expect great things. And so when they don't deliver great things, well, you know, I tend to beat them up a little bit. But this is one of those things that I'm really just pretty stoked about. And I think you guys are going to be very stoked about it as well. So, you know, you guys know Shimano is famous for their X-Pride line of rods, famous for their Poison Adrenal line of rods. They pulled the best tech from those rods and put them into a 6-model swimbait specific lineup that really tries to cover the entire gamut of swimbait angling, so that if you are a guy, you know, diving into this world, you can stay in one lineup of rods. You know, a lot of the challenge to rods, especially in the swimbait world, is they tend to get very niched out, right? So you get, you know, this one rod for, you know, this style of hard bait, and you get this other different rod for this style of, you know, maybe smaller glide, and then they don't work good for soft baits. You got to get a different rod for a beast hook bait, and, you know, you end up with this kind of hodgepodge of rods. Nothing wrong with that, right? But Shimano wanted to try to create a system to where within these 6 rods, anything you think of throwing could essentially fit into this lineup. So they're all going to have the same cosmetic, same feel, and you're going to get very comfortable with them, okay? So we're going to break down each model so you guys know what they're designed for and kind of give you a starting point of what to expect. And then, of course, as these rods roll out, we'll all have more and more experience with them. You guys can kind of make up your own minds what rod is going to be best for your purpose. Now, these are scheduled for a spring release, so they're scheduled for a March-April release. We've been leaked that they're going to do the best they can to get us some early. So if you guys want to pre-order any of these, you certainly can. You guys will be the first ones to get them. If you want to wait until they come out, of course you can, that's fine. I'm going to highlight some of the specs, and then we're going to dive through model by model and run through it really quick for you. So each Outlier is going to have basically the same cosmetic, right? So the first thing that's striking is it has this amazing kind of split grip EVA foam kind of combination. Now, they've gone with this kind of raised EVA foam that's very kind of DRT-esque is what I would call it, right? So if you guys know DRT, you know, Artex or Pulse rods, they kind of have this really cool kind of, you know, raised EVA foam. So it kind of matches cosmetically with that a little bit. They have a custom built CI4 reel seat. So CI4 is something that's been in the Shimano world for a long time. They've custom built it for these rods specifically. So they've got your fingers in the right position. It's a little bit wider to accommodate the wider, you know, blank, but it's not a true big swimbait reel seat that's going to require, you know, a big 300 or 400 reel on all of these rods. And we'll talk about that too as we go through the models. Each rod is going to have Spiral X and High Power X, which you guys need to know about that. Those are 2 terms that Shimano throws around to kind of discuss the build of the rod. Essentially, it's a crossweave graphite, right? So the crossweave graphite that's also then reinforced. And basically what that's going to do for you is similar to rods like a Destroyer P5 or Steez AGS that you guys might be used to, it's going to give the rod multiple flexes, right? So even if a rod feels fairly, fast, as you get to bending it, it will actually have a little bit more give. So the load on these rods for casting is incredible, very accurate, very easy, so you're not going to wear yourself out. And that high power X really gives the rod a lot of stability, so you're not going to have any twisting. So when you're fighting a fish, the rod's going to stay put. It's going to allow the rod to bend without it kind of twisting and moving in your hand. So you get a very lightweight rod that's very strong and very user-friendly, and that's really the breakdown between those two. There is Fuji SIC guides, double foot all the way up, which is great. Beyond that, you've got the Shimano lifetime warranty. So all Shimano warranty is pretty much the same across the board. It's a 1 year, no questions asked, manufacturer defect warranty. So if anything ever happens to the rod for the first year, they replace it, no questions asked. After the first year, then you have the lifetime Shimano Expediter program, works almost identical to the G Loomis Expediter program, where you call them up, you pay the fee based on the rod, and they send you a new rod, and that's good for the lifetime of the rod, which is great to know. So let's start diving through these models. There is one model that I'm going to start with. This is the 7.4 medium heavy. That is a true one piece. It's completely attached. The other 5 rods, you're going to see them advertised as 2-piece rods, which is really stupid in my opinion. You would think that this would be something that we could get past by now. When I think of 2-piece rods, I think that they're ferruled up here in the middle and, I pull it apart. But what that means is that it's ferruled at the grip, okay? So, it is going to come in 2 separate pieces, but it is a 1-piece blank with a ferruled grip. So every good swim bait rod on the planet is built this way, okay? So don't let that 2-piece scare you away. They're all 1-piece rods. They're just ferruled at the grip. Okay, let's run through them real quick. Oh, I should note one more cosmetic thing before it drives me crazy as I walk through these. Each rod does have a hook keeper. Now, if you watched our Sunday What's New video, I spent a little bit of time talking about this. It basically looks like a ginormous industrial staple glued to the bottom of the rod. I hate it. You guys are probably going to hate it. No idea why this is on there, but it's there. Okay, so the good news is they put it on the bottom of the rod instead of somewhere annoying, so you're never going to come in contact with it. No matter where your hand goes, it's not going to bother you. No matter where your line lays, it's not going to wrap around it. It's just stupid. I don't know why we needed this. It's just goofy, but it's there. So Shimano R&D didn't ask me about hook keeper, or that would have never ended up there. Okay, let's back to the models. 7.4 medium heavy. This is a 1/2 to 2 ounce rod. They're rating it as a fast, but it's not. Okay, I would call this a true moderate action. You can see even as I bend this rod, it bends all the way down into here. So this rod was built as a 6-inch swim bait rod, a soft glide rod. So this is going to be a rod for throwing something like a Magdraft, throwing something like an Osakana slide, a flag. This will also be a great small wake bait rod, perfect for that, right? It's going to have incredible load, very accurate casting. It's very light, 12.5 inches, okay, on the length from the butt to the reel seat. So it's long enough to where you can, get accurate and actually make swim bait casts. It's also short enough to where you don't have this giant long thing sticking out there for, a bait that really doesn't need it, right? So this is going to be really a super universal rod that pretty much everybody can utilize in their lineup. That's the 7.4 medium heavy.
12 inches, long enough, huh? I'd be happy with 4.
Is that the only thing that comes to mind with you, CJ? All right, up next is the 7.9 heavy. This is a 1 to 4 ounce rod. Same cosmetics. You have 14.5 inches now from the end to the reel seat. So you've lengthened it a couple inches, so you're in more of a true swim bait grip now. Lure rating 1 to 4 ounces. It's considered a moderate fast. It's a moderate for what you guys are used to seeing. So again, it's going to bend all the way down pretty much into this first guide. But again, because they're using that Spiral X and High Power X, The ratings are a little faster than what you're going to experience actual true use on these. Okay, so this is a true glide bait rod, true treble hook rod. It bends all the way through the middle. It's a beautiful rod. So this is going to be the stick. If you want a rod to throw a TK and a K9, this is the one. I'm going to recommend that you stay more on the TK side. Right, it's 1 to 4 ounce. It really loves that 2 and 3 ounce bait. So this is going to be a rod for something like a Tiny Klash, right? Your shad glide stuff, your I-Slides, your Chad shads. If you guys are throwing like treble hook swim baits, right, like an 8-inch mag, maybe a line through style, 6-7-inch swim bait. This is going to be a beautiful rod for that. A-rigs, this would be awesome for as well. So again, it's lightweight. It's really crisp. It feels great in hand. We didn't talk about reels on that first one, but on the 7.4, something like a Bantam, Steez A, Corrado 150, perfect on there. Just a normal size heavy-duty reel. As we get into this size, those same reels are perfect. Okay, so you don't have to go to a big 300 size. You can put a Bantam 150 on here. You could put a Steez A on here. You can put a Tranks 150 on here, or you could go to the 200 size and do like a Corrado 200, and that fits it great as well, and it gives you enough line capacity. Tranks 200, any of that would fit great on there. Okay, so here you go. There's the 7.9 heavy. CJ asked a really important question. What's the retail on this? I forgot to even mention it. These are all $349.99. So price point wise,
perfect.
They're kind of perfect. Yeah, especially with the lifetime warranty. It's kind of a no-brainer lineup. So if it speaks to you, it should be kind of in everybody's wheelhouse. Okay, next rod. This is a 710 heavy. This is considered a moderate. They were correct on this one. So we get a little bit longer length. I believe it's 15.5 inches now. You've got that same kind of moderate bend, but now we're in a 3 to 6 ounce. Okay, so this is actually a heavy plus. Okay, so the other one was a heavy. This is a heavy P, which is going to mean the plus, so it just gives you a little extra oomph. This is going to be your rod if you really want like a dedicated canine rod, slide swimmer 250 rod. This is going to be a great one for that. Handles the 4 ounce stuff great. So, this range, this is going to be money for this, right? All those style glide baits, this is going to be perfect, but it is soft enough to handle those treble hooks. It's going to be really a treble hook rod. It's a little too soft to be a soft bait rod, but that's okay, because the next rod we're talking about is going to be a dedicated soft bait rod, so you guys know how to use that. All right, so that brings us to this bad boy, 711 heavy, same distance. Okay, so you got the same grip as the last one, but this is going to be a 1 to 5 ounce fast action, and this is actually a true kind of fast action. Okay, so it still has a little bit of a soft tip on here, so you can see. So it's still going to be able to load. It's not a broomstick by any means, but it shuts down very quickly. Okay, so this is going to be your soft bait rod. This is going to throw your beast hook style stuff, your jig hook style stuff. So if you're looking for a rod, to throw something like a Citizen, you could throw the 6-inch, the 7-inch. You could throw a Huddleston, right? You could throw a weedless Rising Sun. Any of those kind of weedless style swim baits that you need to really kind of crank down and crack the whip and have a solid, powerful rod behind you, this is going to be the rod to do it. It's relatively pretty light, but it's still a swim bait rod. So I know that this category rod gets a lot of questions about, can I duplicate it as like a punching rod? Can I use it for anything else? Of course, you can use it for any of those things, but it's not gonna be great at those, right? If you want a punching rod, get a punching rod. They're lighter, they're a little easier on you all day. This is built to actually throw a big long cast, open water, heavy line, sticking it under the arm, right? Slow movements, that's what this rod is built for. It's a true soft swim bait rod. So dope to have that in the collection, because usually with rod lines, they're usually either parabolic or they're fast, and it's hard to find lines that do both really well. But this is something that Shimano is great at, so cool to have this addition in there. That's the 711 heavy. All right, and that brings us to the two big dogs of the lineup. Here is the 8-foot extra heavy. It is a moderate. This is a 4 to 9 ounce. You've got 15.5 inches now. It is a true moderate. Okay, so you can see it still bends all the way down. It just gives you a little more in the kind of ass end of it to really push baits that are maybe just a little bit heavier. Or, you know, maybe you live in that slide swimmer that we just showed you. Maybe you live there most of the time, so you don't really need the rod to go down to 4 ounces like the last one we showed. You really need it to just live in that 6 ounce range. Then this would actually be a better option than the heavy would be. Okay, so it can handle slide swimmer 250. You could jump up and throw things like, you know, a ghost on there. You can throw, you know, 10-inch Magdraft would be dope on here. Maybe a Batesmith Magnum. So it's got the capability of handling both glides and some soft baits because of the power. So even though it's still parabolic, because it's so strong, it's going to give you a little bit more oomph on your hook sets as well. So I think this is going to be a very popular one because a lot of guys kind of live in this lane. But that's the 8-foot extra heavy. And then I should have maybe shown this in the beginning. Each rod, by the way, will get a neoprene outlier sleeve on there. Okay, this is the 8-foot double extra heavy. Okay, it's considered a moderate fast, but it's 6 to 14 ounces. Okay, so this is going to be the serious guy rod. Okay, 16.5 inches now, but to reel seat. This is basically going to be like your mother rod, right? You need a rod to throw a mother. You want to throw something just ridiculous. You want to throw a Frenzy or a Gira Gira or something that just, you know, weighs a ton and looks really cool on Instagram and YouTube when you post chucking it around all day.
Instagrammable.
Yeah, Instagrammable. This would be the rod. But you can see that even though it's a 14-ounce rod, it's still kind of bending all the way through the middle. I mean, I still have some flex down there. So it's not a broomstick. It's still going to load, still going to give you plenty of castability and plenty of good power when you're biting the fish. So there you go. There is the 2X heavy. All right, and like that, there you go. There are the 6 models of Outlier. CJ, I know it's a new rod that you're just putting your hands on. Initial thoughts?
I mean, right out of the gate, hand feels nice. They're lightweight. I don't think they try to do anything crazy fancy with them, which is nice. Yep. And they cover all the bases. Yeah,
basically any swim bait you can think of will fit on one of these rods. They feel great in hand. So I think you guys are really going to enjoy using them. And of course, having the backing of Shimano with the warranty is great as well. So if you guys have any questions, please drop it down below. Hit me up. I'm happy to answer. Of course, I put my Instagram handle in the beginning of every episode so you guys can find me basically 24 hours a day. If you guys want to dive down any rabbit holes, we can do that and really dig in and make sure we get you dialed completely. So on behalf of myself and CJ and everybody here at the Hookup Tackle, thank you for taking time to watch this video. Thank you for taking time to check out the Outlier lineup. I know you guys are going to love it. So we will see you again soon. By the way, Shimano, good job. 2 thumbs up.
Wow.
You don't get to say that very often, but you nailed it. All right, we'll see you again soon. Peace.